All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Today on the show, we have Sara Raymond, who is a trained hypnotherapist, Pilates, yoga, and meditation teacher. Sara, how you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming on, and we're excited to hear about your dreams, your goals, and how we can help. So we like to jump right in. If you could start with telling us a little bit more about yourself and what you like to do for fun, that'd be great.
Sure. I like to be outside a lot. I've recently started gardening more, and I always poo-pooed it in the past. I was like, why does anyone want to garden? It seems so like mundane. Like you
That's
have to
like,
just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And now that's why I think I love it. It's a little, it's a little funny, but yeah, I love gardening. I love spending time outside. I have I have a husband and two kids, so spending time with them is great. They're 18 and 15 now, so like we have real conversations. Like, I mean, they're obviously teenagers, but we have a lot of fun together. So that's kind of how I spend my time.
yeah, absolutely. I love that. And tell
Yeah.
us a little bit more about what you do. You have like four things. So one, how do you split up your time? And two, how did you get to this point?
Sure. I do have a lot of things. And I think that just stems from really being passionate about a lot of different aspects of helping people. And that would be sort of the overarching theme is I really just enjoy helping people. I like getting to know people, human nature, all of that stuff. And um, helping people definitely is one of the things that I love. So everything I do kind of revolves around that. I actually, before all of the titles that you listed, I was a kindergarten teacher for a very brief period of time. And then I got into teaching movement, teaching Pilates primarily, and then yoga and some other forms of exercise. And then I don't know how many years after I started doing that, maybe 10 years after I was doing that, I was finding that there was a missing component to helping people make a change in their life that I couldn't really facilitate. They could come to me and take a class or work with me privately in terms of the movement modalities. And then there was always something like getting in the way of really reaching the goal that they were shooting for. And that's where I found mindset and meditation and hypnosis. And there were a lot of limiting beliefs or beliefs that they were not even conscious of that were stopping them. Like, for example, if someone came to me and they're like, oh, I really want to lose 15 pounds and I'll use exercise as my main form of weight loss, but they would like skip class or they would make an appointment instead of coming to their session. And it was like they were getting in their own way. And that's where the hypnotherapy and the meditation really supports people reaching the goals that they desire. So that's kind of in a nutshell how I got there.
Gotcha. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. And our next question is usually your motivation, but you kind of touched on that. You love helping people. Is there anything
Yeah.
more to that that gets you up and keeps you going, or is that basically the main thing?
I mean, I think, and this might be true for people that are in the helping profession in general, but I find that helping people helps me in a way. Like for example, I have a YouTube channel, and that's sort of the primary way that I get business and that I get to know people and people get to know me. And on those videos, they're either meditations or hypnosis recordings, or they're me guiding through a Pilates or yoga workout. And this sounds a little selfish, and it's not meant to sound selfish, but those are the things that I really needed when I produce the videos. So like if I'm writing a meditation, it's about a topic that I really need to work on for myself. So I think, it's an authentic experience because that's what I really need. And so, helping other people really fulfills my need, and it allows me to have my own personal growth journey at the same time.
I love that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I think that's the best way to do it. Whenever you can be authentic in what you're doing, I think it naturally attracts people who like authentically connect with you. But you know, if you're putting on a facade, you're going to attract people
Yeah.
who like the facade. Awesome. Tell us a little bit more about hypnotherapy and what that looks like.
Sure. I've recently realized that I kind of have to dispel a myth that is a very common thing before I go into detail about what I do. And that is that I'm not going to make you quack like a duck or, cluck like a chicken or whatever the other beliefs are. There's a subsection of hypnosis that is stage hypnosis, and it's all for entertainment. And that's what I think people have in their mind because they've seen a show or they, have witnessed a live demonstration. And that's not at all what I do. I have no interest in controlling people's minds. And that brings me to the point that you, during a session, are always in complete control, and your mind really will never take on any beliefs or actions that you don't truly deep down believe are helpful or going to serve you in any way. So now that that's out of the way, basically what I do is I help facilitate transformations. And that looks a lot of different ways depending on what the client or the group is interested in. So changes like transition in life, whether you're changing careers, or I have a lot of people that come to me that are like in a life transition, whether they're maybe getting separated or their kids are just out of the house or they're retiring or, any of those periods of change and transformation, I can support with that. If somebody, knowing that this is a podcast about reaching goals and living your dreams, if you feel like you are, you have this amazing dream in your mind, but for whatever reason, there's procrastination that's getting in the way of taking action to get to that dream, or just not really believing that that dream is possible for you or that you deserve the dream. Those are clients that I really love working with because the change and the shift is so profound that it's just really beautiful to experience or to watch happen, watch take place.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Did
love that.
did you have any like specific questions about how it works or?
Yes, but the first question I want to ask is, could you make me quack like a duck?
And I don't think I can. I don't have experience with the stage hypnosis realm. Unless you wanted to, in that case, then sure.
Gotcha. Well,
And
yeah.
the same is true for like if someone comes to me and says, "Oh, I want you to make my husband quit smoking." Well, my first question is, "Does your husband want to quit smoking?" And if the answer is no, then my answer is no. I can't do that.
Mm.
So hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, tell us a little bit more about how the process actually works and what you're taking these clients or groups of clients through.
Sure. Well, the process generally starts with, at least in a one-on-one scenario, I will have a pretty in-depth conversation with the client. We'll talk about what the main issue is that they feel is limiting them from living the life that they want. And then we'll talk about maybe how that is affecting them. So, for example, if anxiety is the main issue, what scenarios in your life are you experiencing those symptoms of anxiety? Is it interaction with a spouse or children or work? And it helps me to understand how the symptoms or how the issue is presenting. And then we'll talk a little bit about childhood background or upbringing. So I understand, like, do you have siblings? What's your relationship with your parents like? All of those aspects are really useful to understand because we tend to repeat patterns from childhood. And that's really what we're kind of looking at, is those childhood beliefs, patterns, situations that keep showing up. And then this is my favorite part, is we'll talk about what you do want in your life. So similar to maybe what your conversations are in terms of, like, tell me all your dreams. What do you want to see in your life in terms of relationships, careers, where you're living, what you're doing, and most importantly, how do you want to feel? Like, that's really the I would say the most important part to connect with, is what emotions, what qualities do you want to have? And when you can connect with that, that's what's going to really make the progression or the journey towards that final destination really solid. And then the second half of the session is all about the hypnosis session, in which case I would help guide you into a relaxed state. And that's really all that the state of hypnosis is. It's safe. It's feeling safe in your nervous system and in your body, so that you can get out of fight or flight and into that more rest and digest state of your nervous system. And in that state, you can connect with your subconscious mind, the emotional part of your mind. And we can look back at events from your past that will help you to understand what beliefs were formed about yourself that are leading to the issue. And with that understanding, it gives you the power. You are empowered to be able to say, okay, well, I developed this belief when I was, say, 5, and it served me. Maybe it was forming a way of protection, or maybe it was motivating me to be better, have the drive to succeed, or whatever the purpose was. And then you can say, well, it's actually not even true anymore. Now that I'm an adult, I'm not reliant on the adults in my life. As a child, you're dependent on others to take care of you, to make you feel safe, even to bolster your confidence. You're dependent on others. Whereas as an adult, when you recognize that you don't need to be dependent anymore, you can make those choices. You can form your own beliefs and really support them, which is where the personalized recording comes into play. So after the session, I create a personalized recording, and the client would listen to it for at least 21 days or longer. And that's where those beliefs are really becoming more familiar, and you're connecting with the emotions that you have because of those beliefs, so that it can lead you to the life that you're dreaming of, or it won't be a dream anymore. It just will be reality.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have them, the first step is I'm going to really identify the issue, the thing that's going on in me, and kind of where it comes from.
Yeah.
And then you have them get into that relaxed state. Now, I have a question about that relaxed state. Have you ever read The Power of Now?
That is Eckhart Tolle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I think I have a long time ago, so I don't remember a lot of it.
Gotcha.
Off the top of my head, but I do think I've read it.
He talks a lot about just connecting with your body and
Mm-hmm.
kind of being able to disassociate from the craziness that's going on in your head. Would you say that's similar to that relaxed state?
I would, yeah. I think that there's a lot of different names for the same thing in terms of that state, right? It could be called meditation. It could be called hypnosis. It could be called just relaxed. It could be referred to as the parasympathetic state, the rest and digest. It's awareness, right? It's a lot of times we use the closing of the eyes to signal that state. Oftentimes people need more than just closing the eyes, but like you said, kind of slowing down the craziness of the mind. And by shifting into awareness of your body and your physical sensations, oftentimes breath is the gateway into awareness, because it's always there, it's always present. but the physical sensations, like if you've ever done a body scan, or sometimes it's called a progressive muscle relaxation, all of those techniques are shifting your awareness
Mm.
into your experience. And for some folks, breath is a great way to do it. Other people will say, oh, I can't focus on my breath. It gets all like shallow, or it gets racy and it makes me feel anxious. So, don't do that. And just find another way. It's like, if the door that's first presented to you doesn't open, or you can't get through it, you just try a different entrance. Maybe it's a window, or maybe it's the body. A lot of folks are they feel more connected with the physical sensations as an entrance into this state of awareness.
I love that. I love that. And then
Yeah.
after they enter that, you can kind of dive into like some of the thoughts that are causing it, a feeling that they want to get to. And then once they can connect with that feeling, is that the part you're recording that they listen to, or do you record the whole thing?
I don't record the whole thing, because your mind wants what's familiar, basically. So if we keep reminding ourselves or thinking about what we don't want, we're like drawing it in, right? We continue to focus on it, and it will just stay there.
Mhm.
But so that's why I don't record the bulk of the session. That is what we're trying to eliminate. But the ending part of the session, where we're talking about all of the things that you want in your life, how you want to feel, what your relationships will be like, that's what we're recording and listening to at the end, or beyond the session.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Well, awesome. Let's talk a little bit more about your dreams, goals, and vision for your life now.
All right. Well, I feel like I'm pretty happy and content with my life at the moment. I enjoy my business, and uh, yeah, I like the things that I'm doing, and I feel good. But I do have some dreams, for sure. I don't know if they're immediate dreams, but long-term dream, I would love to have a like a wellness or healing retreat center. So as I said, I love to help people. I like to take care of people. And I think one of my favorite ways is to like entertain, or to host, to welcome people into my home. And usually at this point, it's mostly family members and friends. But, and my husband, he runs the business with me, and he loves to cook. He's like an amazing chef, really just for fun, not for career. But like that's one of the ways that he likes to give to people and take care of people. So we've been kind of dreaming about owning a property, maybe, I don't know, in the woods or somewhere somewhat remote, but still accessible, where we have lots of land that people can explore. And we have a home that is suitable for retreats. So you come and you stay, and we take care of you, and you have like healing opportunities. And specifically, I'd love to make this facility health minded. So even like the materials that it's built with have health in mind. So like mold resistant, and the orientation to the sun, and the I don't know if this is something that you're aware of, but there's something, I probably won't explain this very well, but like dirty electricity, where like outlets are not grounded, or I'm not a very good explainer of this, but the reason I know about it is my husband is sort of energetically sensitive. So like we have to hardwire our house, and there's no Wi-Fi, and things like that can affect people's health without them even really recognizing it.
Mm.
So, conscious of that as we're building this property. And it might be like a 10-year plan, but that's what I'm thinking about.
how much land would you need?
I think we could probably do like 10 acres or more. I mean, I imagine having some like hiking trails on the property. Um, Maybe it would be great to have a spot that has some natural water through it, like whether it's a stream or a pond or something with natural water. Um, Lots of maybe trees, mountains, woods types of, you know,
Yeah.
just like I think that connecting with nature is really nourishing, especially because like our world is so centered around technology and especially with everyone working from home these days. Like we are right now, we're sitting in front of a computer, even though we're connecting. It's there's a disconnect in a way,
Oh yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
but
Um, how many people would be able to stay at the retreat at one time?
sure. Uh, in my dream, in my mind, it would have sort of two different sections. So we'd have one main house that had around five bedrooms. They would all be master bedrooms so that people could have their privacy and their bathrooms and such. And then there would be a separate sort of section that is maybe a 2-bedroom apartment that's available to rent on its own with its own kitchen. So I guess seven bedrooms. But then we also thought like this would be a long-term plan. Maybe we would have some of those like glamping yurts, if you've ever seen those. They're kind of fun. So that we could host more people than just what fits into 7 bedrooms.
Yeah. Yeah. You said
So
glamping. What?
I think well, glamping yurts or tents, like they're set
Uh,
up where they have like not a foundation, but like a, a a base. Maybe it's like a little deck, and then you build this tent on top of it. But it's not like the tent that you would pitch on the ground, right? It's like nice, and it has a real bed, and it has maybe a heater and
gotcha.
more glamorous camping.
I see. Okay. So you'd be able to, the buildings would be able to host about 7 people and it'd be on about 10 acres of land with a river. Where would the location of this be? Like, do you have a state in mind or a place?
Not necessarily. I think that we're drawn to the mountains, but like we're on the East Coast, so we have smaller mountains than like out farther west. But yeah, we don't have a specific destination in mind yet.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. If you had to pick one right now, what would
Right
it be?
now, well, right now we've been kind of looking at some land, but it's close to us. So we live in Maryland, so there's the western part of Maryland and into West Virginia. But that's just because we can drive there from here and we can look
Yeah.
at land. But yeah, we would be open to outside of that area too.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
Any other dreams or
yeah.
goals that you want to chat about?
I think that's the big goal. I mean, I love what I do, so I dream about that expanding, that growing, and continuing to help people. So I feel like my dreams for my business are always evolving. I definitely am a planner. I plan the future a lot, and whether it comes true or not, you know, that's fine. I love planning. I love trying new things. I'm willing to kind of put myself out there and try things. Um, so yeah, that's everything, I think.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. If there were 1 or 2 people that you could meet right now, and this could be a specific person or a type of person, and they would help you take the next step
Mm,
towards your wellness and healing retreat center, who would they be and how would they do it?
sure. Um, well, I would say, someone that is in the like not necessarily realtor, but someone in the building of investment properties like this. I don't know who that is, or, an investor of sorts that has experience with this type of business model. Because I have no experience with it at this point in my life. So I would need some help. So that would be one. And then I always think of, people who are doing something similar to what I'm doing in terms of my business and career, but they're like farther along on the journey than I am. So when I think about that in terms of the YouTube channel as a main component of a business, a wellness business, the first person that comes to mind is Yoga with Adriene, who I think is in Austin. You're in Austin, right? We're out somewhere near there. Yeah. So she has a very successful YouTube channel. I want to say like 10 million subscribers or something. And she just, even like as big as that has gotten, yeah, it's pretty huge. She still just seems so real and down to earth. And so I'm inspired by her commitment to helping people and her commitment to this really generous business. So I would love to learn from her and get any advice from her that she's willing to share in terms of that process, that progress that she's made in that.
You said she's in
business.
Austin?
I believe so. I could be
maybe
wrong.
I'll track her down for you.
That would be awesome. Actually, I think we are going to try to go out to Austin maybe in January, February. So, if you use your super connector skills and get us connected, I would love to meet up with her.
Yeah, that would be epic.
It'd be a little fangirl moment for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hello.
Sorry, I was pulling up her videos. I'm definitely gonna try. Awesome. Yeah. Well, there we go. Just curious, how do you plan on financing the retreat center? Is it going to be all cash on y'all's part? Are you going to bring in investors? How's that going to work?
That's a good question that I don't know the concrete answer to. At this point, our conversations have been start off small and kind of progress. So when I described the layout of the facility, we thought we would maybe start with that 2-bedroom apartment style facility, and then maybe we probably wouldn't live there full time, but use it to bring in some income as a rental property and then build or expand from there. But if we found the right investor, I would definitely be open to that. I kind of just have this dream of the space, the experience, and however we're able to make it happen. I'm completely open to whatever happens, I guess. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't take an investor that was the right person, I don't need to do it on my own.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel that. That's awesome. So that's kind of up in the air, but you'd be open to a lot of things right now, as long as you can make the vision happen on it, like the building comes to fruition and you can run the business. Yeah.
I'm totally open to whatever. I kind of believe that things happen for a reason and they happen the way that they're supposed to. And that's not to say that I don't put effort into doing things, but I have this dream in my mind, and it'll happen the way that it happens, and I'm completely open to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Well, what's the most important 1 or 2 things that everyday people can do to help you accomplish your highest priority dream of getting this retreat center out and growing your business?
Are you asking how other people can help me, or how they can reach their dreams?
Let's do both.
Okay. So if I start with other people reaching their dreams, I would say awareness, like we talked about, that state of awareness, and connecting with that on a regular basis. So if you have this big dream, write it down in very specific detail, but at the same time, be open to, recognizing opportunities, even if they aren't exactly like this dream that you've written down. And then review those details daily if possible, so that your mind is getting that familiarity, the repetition of, okay, this is what I want, and this is why I want it. That's also important, to kind of be connected with why you want to reach your dreams. And that kind of gives you like a guidepost to making decisions. And you can say, oh, well, I have this opportunity to do X, Y, and Z in my career. Is that going to lead me in the direction of this big dream that I have? And if the answer is no, then you have your answer, that even though it's a big opportunity, it doesn't really support that big dream. So I think that we are saying, when we say yes to something, we're saying no to something else, and vice versa. So being able to clearly and confidently make a decision based on whether it is going to support that dream will help in terms of actually reaching the dream, for sure.
Yeah.
And then in terms of people helping me reach my dream, I guess anything that would support the growth of my business. So maybe starting to use my services on the YouTube channel, they're all free. Or I don't know, I guess that's it. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what, or letting me help you in some way would help me and my business as well.
Yeah. So either partner with Sara or use her free services to spread the word about it.
Yeah, I guess some collaborations would be fun and expansive, good connection in terms of business, for sure.
Also, if you happen to know Adriene from Yoga with Adriene,
yeah,
put us in contact.
Connect us.
There we go.
True. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Now we're going to jump into our Thriving Three. And the first question is, what's your favorite book, movie, or podcast?
Okay. Is this like personal growth or entertainment, or either?
Whatever you want, but you have to pick one.
Okay. That is a tough question, because I love to read and I love to listen to podcasts. I'm going to go with probably the most influential book that it was early on in my personal growth journey. And I think I've read it probably 4 times at least. I use a lot of the concepts in my life and in my coaching. The book is called Emotional Chaos to Clarity. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And the author is Philip Moffitt. It's a really, I don't want to say simple read, but it's really easy to comprehend the concepts and very quickly apply them into your life and use what you learn to experience more, clarity and fulfillment and joy in your life.
I love that.
Hopefully
when you were
someone else
describing,
will get use out of that.
yeah, absolutely. When you were describing that book, I was like on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh my gosh, it's impacted her life, changed her coaching business. Like, what is it? What is it?
What is it? Well, it's a good thing I remembered the title of it, because if I didn't, that would have been a really let down, a moment of letdown.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, what is one way you like to take care of yourself?
I love spending time outside. As I mentioned, I feel like connecting with nature is really nourishing for me. My husband makes fun of me a little bit because this is kind of silly, but I love like seeing things grow from a seed, or like, I never thought I would do this or even talk about this, but composting is like really fascinating to me, because it's like you're taking trash and then you're making this like wonderful nutrient dense dirt basically, and it helps to then like cycle of life grow something new. And he really teases me about it, but I'm like, let's not throw those fallen leaves out, they're like nutrients, we need them. And it's a little silly, but I find it really, enjoyable. And I might like put the earphones in and listen to a book or a podcast. Just fresh air and sunlight really kind of fills me up. So that's probably my favorite way to take care of myself.
That's awesome. I love it. And what is one action step you can take right now, or continue to take if you're already doing it, to either A, connect with Yoga with Adriene, or B, meet that developer that you need to meet, developer/investor, to take the next step towards building that retreat?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot and asking me to make a commitment. I like that though. I like it. Well, I could reach out to Yoga with Adriene and say, hey, I'm going to be in Austin. Let's meet up, but I don't have a date yet. So I will do that though. Thank you for that little push. And maybe just put something out there. I mean, I have not a network so much, but a community of people with the mindful movement that perhaps knows someone. So maybe I can just put an ask out and see if someone knows a developer that might be interested, or an investor.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure you could also put some feelers out to some commercial brokers who have been in the real estate game for a while, because real estate agents tend to be the super connectors of the real estate industry.
Yeah, that's true. They know a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, awesome. I have one last question for you. It requires a bit of pretext, and you kind of already touched on it, but I want to go a little bit more in depth.
Okay.
And so, you know how there are people on the planet, as there are, that have a fixed mindset. You know, they're not willing to accept help, not willing to accept change. And sometimes they go their whole life like that. Other times they don't change and they just die like that. Other times they change and they go to more of a growth mindset, willing to accept help, willing to accept change. In your opinion, what is the catalyst that causes that change? And I say you already touched on it because you kind of like hinted to the awareness and how needed that is. But even going a step deeper than that, the catalyst that leads somebody to wanting to get that awareness, like wanting to get to that point of wanting help.
That's a really good question. The catalyst to wanting to make a change is what you're asking, yeah?
Yes.
Well, like you said, I touched on the awareness bit of this. So like not being able to recognize that you're getting in your own way, or that you're playing a role in not reaching your goals or not making that change. I think to go a little deeper, being able to develop a connection with your intrinsic motivation, meaning the underlying why of what you're doing. So like the benefit beneath the benefit, if you will, right? Like I'm not losing weight just to fit into my pants. I am losing weight so that I can live the life that I want with ease. I want to be able to spend time outside. I want to be able to, go for long hikes with my family. And in order to do that, then I need to, lose that weight, for example. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Well, awesome. Sarah, is there anything else that you want to chat about before we sign off?
No, I just want to say thank you. And, I acknowledge you for your commitment to the connection of people. I think that we're really like missing that in the world right now. And I think it's really valuable. And I'm, honored to be able to connect with you today. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I have one more follow-up question. For those people who aren't aware of their intrinsic motivation, or they have tried to find it out and have just found that they have nothing. What would you say to that person?
I think everyone has some intrinsic motivation, or some maybe unknown priority, if that makes sense. So like I said, if we're saying no to something, or we're saying yes to something, we're saying no to something else. So if you're saying yes to sitting on the couch and watching 3 hours of Netflix, then you're saying no to reading a book to support your personal development. You're saying no to getting a really good night's sleep so you can wake up early and exercise. There's so many things that you're saying no to. So really look deeper at what you're prioritizing based on how you are willing to spend your time. Like some people might say, oh, family is my main priority. It's really important to me. But then when you look at how you're spending your time and, you're working 80 hours a week and maybe having dinner with your family one night a week, it's like, that doesn't really reflect what you're saying. So there might have to be some, reorganization of time, or just reconnecting with what you think your priorities are, rather than what your actions are saying that your priorities are. Does that help?
Yeah, for sure. Do you think it ever comes down to the case that people are kind of accepting other people's priorities for their life as opposed to really being in touch with their own priorities for their life?
Yes, for sure. And I think I experienced that myself. I tell the story about kind of how I got into meditation in the first place. And I found myself in my early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, wondering, like, well, how did I even get here? Right? Like, did I choose this? Is this the life that I wanted? And don't get me wrong, I love my life, but I didn't think that I really made the choice to be where I was and be in the career that I have. And that's when I started practicing meditation. It was my form of awareness, right? It was my way to say, okay, well, I hear voices in my head when I'm trying to make a decision. I'm not trying to say like I'm crazy. When you're making a decision, you go through these thought processes. And they weren't necessarily like my voices, my desires, my expectations. They were imposed from society, from parents, from people that love me and want the best for me, but they weren't necessarily mine. So understanding what your own values are and your own desires and expectations, it sometimes takes a little like detaching from other people's expectations and what's important for you from them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sara, thank you so much for coming on the show.
It was my pleasure. Great to connect with you.
Yes, great to connect with you too. If you guys are listening to this and you were vibing with Sara's dreams, goals, what she's trying to do, make sure to go to her YouTube channel, share that information, do some of the stuff that she's doing on her YouTube channel, see how it impacts you, and then spread that impact to the people around you. Also, if you happen to know a developer that specializes in retreats, or an investor that does the same, or you are one, reach out to Sara. Let's make that happen, because I want to be at the retreat by the end of 2022. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, that's really soon. Uh-oh, I'm a little nervous now.
Hey, we can push it to the end of 2023.
Yeah.
Awesome. Also, if you know Yoga with Adriene, let's make that connection as well, and let's make people's dreams and goals come true. As we always ask, send this podcast to 1 to 3 people you know need to hear this message. Shoot us a 5-star review on iTunes, and we're out.